Here's my first impression of the new Catrice Spring Summer 2026 collection. Welcome to watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today we're going to do my first impression review of the new Catrice products for the Spring Summer 2026 collection. In case you don't know about Catrice, like their sister brand Essence, they discontinue a lot of products every 6 months and then they bring out lots of new things. And as you can see, Catrice came out with so many new things. So today we're going to be testing things out for the first time. I'll try to include a bit of a wear test later today as well, so you have a bit of a sense of what these products do throughout the day. I'm very curious about a lot of these, and I will be doing additional reviews here on the channel and over on the blog in the next couple of weeks and months to come. And I always like doing a big giant roundup once I've tested all the new Essence and Catrice stuff with all of my thoughts in one video. That will not happen until April or May, I think, because look at how much we got. So I'm super excited for trying out all of these products, so let me just get to it. One of the reasons why I'm so excited for these products has to do with the fact that there is a full face lying in front of me, from primer to mascara all the way to setting spray. I've picked something up in every single category so we can truly do a full face of new Catrice makeup. So my eyes are a little bit sensitive because I had to do a lot of grading, which meant a lot of computer work this week, and my eyes did not enjoy it. So they're a little itchy and sensitive. So I hope I'll do well with the eye products once we get there, but it's gonna be okay. We're gonna kick things off with primer, and this is the Glass-like Pearl Primer. Here's what it looks like. I'll insert some close-ups and swatches that I've already done with these. But apart from swatching them, I haven't done anything with these products. So I'm super excited to see what these things will do on my face. So this one I picked up because a shiny primer is always an ace in my book. I love primers that give glow. And this, it does have a bit of a perfumey scent, I have to say. That's not really my favorite thing. But it definitely has a very lotiony type of feel. I feel like my camera is very sort of blown out. This is a little bit better if I come a little bit closer to you. But this product just really sounds like it's right up my street. I feel it's very similar to what the MAC Strobe Cream feels like to me. So it's perhaps a little bit thicker than the MAC Strobe Cream, but it very much works in that similar vein. So I'm very excited for this, which is why I actually bought this myself in 2 batches. This was not sent to me in PR or anything like that. I always buy Essence and Catrice stuff myself because even if they do send out PR, they never send you the entire collection. And this time around, there was a lot that I was interested in. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try everything. And this is one of the things that I was really excited for, because Catrice can do a really good primer, I have to say. A lot of primers that I've tried from Catrice have worked for me in the past. I have one big major issue with them, which is why I don't repurchase them. And that's by the time I've tried it and I've used up the entire product, because primer is one of those things that I like to use up before I move on to the next thing. And by the time I've done that, they have already released something else and I can no longer buy that product. So I feel with primers, I can continuously just review new Essence and Catrice primers, which is why I've sort of stopped reviewing them, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, this is the So Many It primer from Catrice that looks really pretty. It does feel a little bit tacky once it's been on the skin for a little while longer. I feel it's still very hydrating too as well. And then 3 products to finish off the face that I'm very excited for. These are very on trend. One of it is a new rendition of a very old school Catrice products. If you've liked Catrice for more than a decade like I have, you recognize a concealer palette like this because they have had one in their collection for years, but it now comes in different shades. They've come out with the CC Skin Perfector. So this is essentially one of those green tone correctors. It's very similar to the Herborian one. And then they have come out with a new powder. This is the Bright and Blur Airbrush Powder. Catrice powders are a little bit hit and miss for me because I do have dry skin. So with Catrice powders, I often find they are too mattifying, but they did a pink. So you knew I had to try it. So here is that pink powder. It's a little washed out if I hold it too close to the camera. I think maybe if I hold it all the way up close, you can see the shade a little bit better. So this is what the powder looks like. I haven't tried a pink face powder yet, and it's everywhere. Since I am fair-skinned and I do have a slightly more like cool leaning undertone, I do think that this is going to work really well on my complexion. And the same goes for this concealer palette. This is the all-round concealer palette. The original one that they do comes with a green corrector in and a peach. So essentially this has 2 corrector shades and then 3 concealer-like shades. But one thing that's new with this one is that this darkest concealer shade is actually a little bit of a brownie texture. So I feel it's meant to be a contour for fair skin. This new one is called 020 Light. And I just thought that this looked like it had loads of shades that are going to be perfect for people with a very fair skin tone, especially this lavender if you want to brighten up any area, and especially because I've had such a busy week at work, I definitely think I'm going to have to try a little bit of that just to highlight some of that area. I feel I look very tired on camera. So the way this is going to go, I'm just going to apply this corrector first. And this starts off green, very much like the Arborian one that I feel it's trying to dupe. And like the Arborian CC Red Correct, this doesn't come in a whole lot of shades. So if you were hoping to find your perfect like green corrector, you're probably going to be in a bit of a shock because this one only comes in 1 shade. So that's a bit of a but this is one of those products that starts off green and then when you apply it, it starts to turn, like, change color. And I'm very curious what this will do. I mean, to be quite fair, I really enjoy my Arborian one, but it does pull pretty yellow once it gets to the final shade that it manages to go to. So these are meant to just correct your redness. It's not really meant to add loads of coverage, I feel. That's where the concealer is going to come in. And I just think, like with the Arborian as well, because this is activated once you blend it, I just like to use fingers with these products because I feel it gets me the best result to sort of even out my redness and have that. I quite like the shade. It's not terrible. I do need to do a better job at blending around my jaw, but we'll get to that in a sec. I'll use a brush to sort of even it out even more, but just to get the initial sort of layer on, that's not looking too bad. You don't need a lot. Like I squirted out just a little bit. I haven't taken any new product and it's actually working out quite well. So this is again very similar to another product. As you'll see in today's video, Catrice is really bringing us the dupes this time around. They have already been doing it for like some time now, but I feel that this rendition of their new collection is even doing it worse than they used to. I mean, there's some like K-Beauty Fui pudding pot situation products. There's some lip tints that are very K-Beauty-esque. They have a new blush in one of their limited editions that I managed to pick up as well. That is like a dupe for the Rare Beauty. Not packaging-wise, but shade-wise, I feel it very much is. And then also this powder, like what brand is currently not doing a pink powder? So here is what the initial application of the CC Red Correct type of product looks like. It's called the CC Skin Perfector in the Catrice line. And I just like to use a bit of a brush to sort of help it blend down my neck because I don't want there to be any harsh lines. That's really the only thing it really needs. And I just need to blend it a bit more around my nose because your fingers don't always help there. So just to make sure it goes everywhere. I do feel like now that I've blended it in, it can look a little bit like it's emphasizing some things around my nose, but that I think is just a matter of giving it a good blend. And now I'm very curious to see how this is gonna go. I still have a little bit of redness left, so that's something I always like to cover up with a bit of concealer, but I think I'm going to start with the lavender shade first in my under eye area just to see what it will do. It's swatched okay. This isn't like, I only bought this for the giggles because really this is not my formula. Like it's very, very sticky feeling. Like the formula they haven't changed of this. I remember it being this thick and sticky and like I'm sure if you can see, but my fingers kind of stick together where the product is. I do like to warm this up to give it as much like emollients as I can get it. Ooh, that's very blue. Like sometimes with these lavender products, when brands put them into things, like they'll pull pink or they won't do much. But I think this is not too terrible. I might actually be able to get away with just wearing it by itself. If I apply a little bit more of the Red Correct in this area in a second. So I've only applied a super light layer, and you can see how bright and stark it is. I'm gonna need the pink of the powder to help cover this up anyways. But yeah, it definitely brightens things on my fair skin, which is a first. I've never tried anything that's this brightening. And I think I'm just gonna use a little bit of this third shade. That's too bright, Micah. This one here. Because I think, or maybe the second one actually is gonna be right for me, but I'm just gonna like dot it around to blend, like this way I won't need the CC corrector actually. This way I can just blend my concealer in with the rest of my makeup. But that's actually a little bit too bright. Catrice isn't known for doing like, I'll try shade 4 now to see if that's even like, oh yeah, that's a little better for me. It's rare for me to find things in Catrice that are actually too light. Another thing that you need to know about this concealer palette, like it is very sort of easy to use because you can just stick your fingers in and it will be fine. What you do need to know is that you get less than a gram in each pan. So one of the reasons why I've never repurchased the other one is because you can go through it really quickly if you commit to using this every single day. I had one years ago, like way back in the day when I first started testing out Catrice. That's when I already tried one of these. I'm going to use this darker concealer a little bit more on this side as well, just to even it out. It's actually ending up a little bit too light. Brush for where the fingers can't go. This is just a really old Real Techniques one that I have. And yeah, this is what I was afraid of. Because this concealer is so sort of creamy, it shows every texture the minute you try to blend it with anything other than a finger. You need the warmth of your fingers to keep the oils activated and to make it work. So yeah, there's such a stark contrast now between my under eye area and the rest of my face. Like now the CC corrector looks positively yellow compared to, like much more yellow compared to what I have going on here. So there is definitely a shade difference. I don't think that these two products necessarily go together, but individually I can see myself using some of these again. Like I said, the concealer palette I just bought for nostalgia because it's such a throwback and it's good to see them do this in a different shade now. So if you have super fair skin, I mean, this is the medium concealer and it's still pulling a little bit light on me. Good to know, good to know, good to know. And then I'm going in with this pink powder. What shade is this in? This is 010 Pink Luminous. Now this could change the game or it could make everything look really crappy, especially because that concealer is already quite thick. This could actually make my under eye look worse, but let me see. Oh, it's not. I was afraid it would be too pink. It's actually... Yeah, so it does add a little bit of brightness, but it does definitely feel more like a finishing powder than it does like a true setting powder. It's just called a smooth texture with brightening effect. Blurs imperfections. I'd say so. And I think I'm going to put just a little bit of the powder down my cheek as well, just to make it look more even with the concealer situation, because else I'm going to look weird and I need to film at least one other video today. So that's sometimes what you have, you know, when you're testing makeup. Like the products don't necessarily go together the first time you try them. But here we go. This is what the products look like together. And before you think it looks too pale, I'm wearing a slightly high neck sweater, but it does go with my neck, okay? And yes, this is why we know I'm cool tone, because you can see the redness here on my skin already, and you can see that it nicely matches my neck as well. It's just a little bit too white for me almost. It's too light, but the undertone is pretty good, I would say. I feel like I've got a mask on almost. Like in some lighting, I'm like, ooh, it looks nice. And then I turn my head and I'm like, is that the right shade for me? The lavender, like I don't love super bright under eyes anymore. Like 10 years ago, I would have liked this a lot more perhaps, but then I couldn't find anything that would brighten on my skin because everything was too yellow. So that's the trade-off, I think. The next section, so my face has a little bit of time to settle down and to do its thing. We're going to go in with 3 new brow products. Now, I'm not super excited about these, but it was like, this way I have a full face and I can show them a couple of extra things. They've come out with a microblade it's a pen. So it's one of those like flicky things. I hope the camera focuses on this. It's in the shade, does it say anywhere, soft blonde. So I'm just going to start with that just to add a little bit of color to my brows. And then we'll go in with the next product. So I'm not someone who needs a lot of work in their brows. Like I think this pen is really nicely thin if you want to draw on actually brow hairs. My brows, like if I don't get them done, it looks very bushy and insane. So there's that. So yeah, the microblade brow pen is great for people who really actively need to draw on brow hairs, but for just filling in, I feel it's a bit finicky. And then I have this Lift and Laminate Brow Gel. I just got it in the clear shade. Which I thought I could try because I haven't used a product like this. Like, who remembers the Anastasia Dip Brow and the craze for that? I was here for it. I had that product at some point, but I've never really loved this. And they sell this little brush that I'm going to use to apply it with it. So you can get this from Catrice. Now, what I've seen everybody do is that you just sort of push it in your brows and brush it through. But the problem with products like these is, like I say, I have quite bushy brows. I have actual brow hairs, and they're just a little bit long. I like the effect. Like a lot of my students have brows like this, where it's very sort of laminated looking and a little bit more flat to the skin. But I like my brows to be a little bit fluffier. I don't like it when it's like stuck to my face because it makes them look fake, I find. I do like how nicely defined my brow hairs are. But yeah, this is already, like, it's very shiny. And now I have shiny brows. I'm like, didn't want that. And one of the things that I never liked about these, like, pomade, lemonade kind of things, they become very gloopy very quickly in my experience. So before you can ever use up the entire pot, the product will no longer look in your brows the way it did when you first bought that product. So that's one of the reasons why I've sort of stepped away from products like this, and I just use a tinted brow gel with a bit of fiber to help fluff them up and make sure they are stuck in place. But yeah, I feel with this, my brows are not going anywhere before the end of the day. I can just feel it. And if this goes crispy, which I think it actually may, I'm going to be even extra unhappy with this. This is not my look. Like, I feel I now have highlighter in my brows. This is not a good look. This is probably why a lot of people who do this technique do their brows before their foundation. But if I can't cover up, like, the shininess in between my brow hairs, that's not where I want the shine. Like, there's a little bit of shine here, which I can surely just wipe away, and here as well. I mean, I can use my finger to get that, like, to deal with that. But there's, like, shininess in between my brow hairs where the brush touched my skin. Like, if I, like, move my face, like, you can't probably see it, but, like, in the mirror here in real life, I can, like, when I turn my face, I can see this, like, whoop, 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 whoop shininess in my brows. I don't think that's for me. If you like that look, you're probably going to like this. I do feel it gives you that laminated look, but I want it to be matte, and this isn't. It's shiny. And then I think one of the things that Catrice consistently has done really, really well over the past, well, years that I've tried them is cheek products. Essence and Catrice are two drugstore brands where you really don't have to, like, they just showcase that you don't have to spend a lot of money for your bronzers, blushes, and highlighters. Some of my favorite, most cool tone bronzers that are currently on the market, at least they were last time I checked. They might have discontinued them again, are by Essence and Catrice. And Catrice already did a line of blush sticks that they've just added shades to in the past couple of renditions, or like they discontinued shades and then they pulled in other shades. But to sort of extend on that line, they now also do a sculpting stick. This is the Sculpt and Charm Contour Stick. Mine is in 010 Ash. Here is what the shade looks like. If I hold it close enough to the camera, you can see the shade and it's not blown out by my lights. So this is, I think, going to be really, really beautiful. So it's nicely cool toned, which I like, but it definitely does have a touch of warmth, which is usually the case with a lot of these products. So I think I'm going to try and do two different tactics. I'm going to warm it up on the stick on the back of my hand and then go in with the stick around my forehead. And then whatever's left on my hand, I'm going to apply with my brush after I've blended the stuff on my forehead. Because I think this feels quite like this could work like directly on the face. I'm not a huge fan of this type of contour or bronzer application or any cream products really, because you always end up with like darker spots where you applied the product, because I think this does dry down really quickly, and it does. I'm not saying you don't, like, I just feel I can always see where I went in, where the product first touched my face when I apply it like this. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but I just feel it does. So I like to always apply sticks like this to the back of my hand, pick it up with a brush, and then just dot it on. With force, preferably. Ooh, it's nicely cool toned. I really like the look of that. So here is what that bronzer does for me. Ooh, I think it's really pretty. I did apply more on this side than I did the other. Oh, that's okay. It's fine. We're gonna apply blush and highlighter anyways. Next up is going to be highlighter, and I have three for you here, and all three I'm pretty excited for, but when I swatch them, I'm not sure whether any of these are going to be quite right for me, but we'll see. So the More Than Glow in Dewy Rose, this is 020. It just, when it came, it just looked so much darker than I had expected. That's the reason I'm like, not sure this is right. It does seem to have a pretty cool reflect, so I'll put that one on this side of my face. I don't need that much, I think. Again, I'm just using my fingers to apply this. I find that that's far easier. Yeah, this has a cast. It does have a nice brightness, but it definitely, where I've applied it, you can see the color of the base of this highlighter, and that's what I don't like about highlighters. I may have to just use a third one and cover it up in a sec. The second one I have is the Diamond Haze Jelly Highlighter Stick. I think this only came in one shade. This is Born to Sparkle, and it's one of those jelly things with like the little cap that you need to pull off. And then this one came, and again, look at how dark that looks. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? This also has quite a strong base to it, and this is even worse because this base is like an orange peach. It does feel nice and cooling on the skin. I need to blend out my concealer a little bit. I think I just need to go in straight from the stick, which again, I don't like because this can move your foundation around. And then I'm just going to use my finger to tap that in. This doesn't do anything. It's very sort of sheer, and it's got a little bit of glitter in. Maybe on the tip of my nose, will that work? Now I have, oh, now it just moves my, it just, right, like the minute I try tapping it in with my finger, I've lost all of my foundation around my nose. This is why I don't like these stick products when they do it like this. Like, it looks really pretty in a swatch on the back of my hand, but I feel it does nothing on my face. There's like nothing here. And normally when I film in this setting, this side of my face, you can see the highlighter a lot better than on this side for some reason. But I feel that this highlighter shows up a lot better. So that means we're gonna have to rely on hopefully our saving grace. I do have to be really careful with this because the pan of this is already loose. It's the Aura Glam Bouncy Highlighter in Moonlit Sand. Like when I move this, I can feel it jiggling around. And when I swatched it, when I like put my finger in, like the pan like moves around. So I'm just super afraid to like lose this. And I think I might be able to use my highlighter brush with this one. So I'm just going to cover both cheeks in this. This in a swatch, like, do you see that? It kind of like just moves around. I can like wiggle it with my brush, which I don't think is going to be good, but yeah, this is a lot better. When I put that over it, it's a lot more highlightery and it has a lot less of a base. And that's a bit of a shame because with these products, like I really was excited for them when I saw them on the website. I was like, these are going to be fun. And then I got them in and I was like, oh, they are much darker. And then like the way they had shown it on the models that were shown on the website made it look like it was going to be right for me, like that rosy shade in the liquid. It was swatched on someone with super fair skin and I'm like, it has a dark base. I'm like, no. So here we have that highlighter as well. I like this one best, I think. I'm not sure how much I'll realistically reach for these two in my makeup collection in the future. I don't think I want to put these into a Shop My Stash to test them out more, to be quite fair. Sorry. And then I have 3 new blushes. Now, one of these is from a recent limited edition, but I saw the shade and I was like, oh, I want to try it. This is the, I think the limited edition is called Soft Embrace, and this is in Mulberry Glow. So I'll just insert some pictures here so you can have a look at the close-ups. But the ones I want to put on my face, and I think I'll just apply the cream first and then put the powder on top, and then I'll roll them into a Shop My Stash at some point to sort of really make up my mind about these shades, like these products individually. But we have the Catrice version, essentially, of a Fui pudding pot. Maybelline has a version of this now called the Cloudtopia. That is not for sale here yet. I'm desperate to try one, but it doesn't, like, it's not available where I live yet. So when I can get my hands on it, I probably will at some point in time, but it could take a while. Usually Maybelline takes about a year to get things here, so it's just the way it is. But this I can try. This is the, it's a mouthful. It's the Velvet Pudding Blurring Blush, and mine is in shade Raspberry Fudge. Raspberry Fudge. I can't talk today. Like I said, busy week. It came with a little silver overlay to keep it protected. And one thing that I noticed when I was swatching this for the first time is that this is a lot thicker than the Fui ones are. So this is a little bit more, almost more moussey, and this isn't as matte as the Fui ones are. So the Fui pudding pots are very, very matte. They're almost to the point where they're drying, which is why I don't like using those on my lips. This one is just called a blush. And like I already saw some people talking about this, but this so much reminds me of the Maybelline Dream Mousse. What were they called? Blushes. I had a bunch of those back in the day. And this just shows you that makeup trends just come around, they come and go. And we're now again in the era of moussey blushes, apparently. So I'm just gonna use my finger because I thought this rosy shade could be really pretty. And I think it will go with the eye look I have in mind for today. Ooh, there's a bit of a thing there. So again, with cream blush, I just use fingers. And then if need be, I just use a brush to blend it in a little bit. That is really, really pretty. Yeah, I am going to tone it down a little bit. And here on my finger, I feel it looks pretty warm toned and peachy. But then when I blend it out, it actually does have a bit of blue running through it, so I like that. But it definitely is like a warmer rosy pink, I have to say. But it has a little bit of something blue toned in there too. I'm just going to use a bit of my foundation brush and just tap it in on both sides. And that usually takes care of it. I feel like this has come down perhaps a little bit too much, but Oh well, we'll live. We are going to apply the Soft Blur Powder Blush next, and this is in the shade Cinnamon Sugar. This is, again, something I'm a little unsure of, but I do think it will go as like a bit of a topper if I use a very light hand. So I think I'm just gonna initially go in with this Quo brush that I have. I don't use this a lot. I mainly have it for super pigmented blushes that I otherwise cannot use. But this is super wispy, and I just feel with a blush, if I don't know yet what it's gonna do, I'd rather apply less and already have product on, of course, and just like enhance some of like create more depth, you could say. I like the look of it. I don't have that many of these more neutrally leaning blushes, and I'm really seeing this comeback of these like in-betweeny neutral leaning blushes almost. Like there's a little bit of warmth, there's a little bit of cool tone. Like this, again, like on my finger, it looked so peachy, and I feel that on the cheeks, there is just this level of brightness to it that I think works really well. So I'm pretty happy with the way this is going so far. Just the highlighters and like the brow product is just not my cup of tea, but the highlighters are the only thing I truly feel a little disappointed with. Let me see what this blush does. I don't see that much of a difference, do you? I don't. I'm going to take it around my nose. Yeah, it is perfect for that sort of blushy, sun-kissed look, which is what I was hoping it would do. It definitely has that. Like it really creates that. Like, maybe I should try this sometime, but this could be a bronzer for me. I don't have currently anything in my makeup collection that can do that for me. So this could be nice for the summertime indeed. It is part of a summer collection, essentially. So I do like that shade. I think I could get a lot of wear out of that. Like both of these products, I really like the look of. I'm going to have to test them out more to see how they wear and do on my face. But now it's time for the eyes. And again, in the eye area, we have some exciting new things, at least in my opinion. I'm gonna have to test one of these products off camera because I only have two eyes and I don't want to look like a complete lunatic when I film my next video. But you are already going to be hearing my thoughts really, really soon on this guy. This is the Deep Velvet eyeshadow palette, and it's essentially a burgundy eyeshadow palette. It's swatched beautifully. Catrice has done palettes like this in the past couple of years. I have another video up where I reviewed the initial 4 palettes that they did in this line. But this is definitely, for them, quite a unique color story. And this sort of like cherry burgundy sort of look, like Chanel has the Rouge Noir out again, which I'm like, that's a throwback too. So I'm really feeling like shades like this are just really having a moment. So I am going to be testing it out really soon. In fact, I'm planning on putting this on my face the day you are watching this video, and then include it already in my January palette review video, because I just don't know where else I'm gonna try it out, because this can very easily be tested out in a single day. These 8 shades go together really well, so this is apparently like it's essentially like a single look in a palette for me. There isn't much else that I can do with this, and this way I can just test it out and call it a day. So this is already going to be in my palette review, which should be up in the next couple of days. But what I will be testing out for you in this video today are a couple of singles, an eyeliner pencil, and a new mascara. So there's loads going on, and Catrice has revamped their single shadows line. I feel Catrice is one of the very few brands at the Dutch drugstore that still does any sort of singles. Like, they're just not around anymore. This is the Art Galore eyeshadow in Muted Bloom, and I definitely feel this could potentially go with the eyeshadow palette as well. It's this really pretty sort of like, I don't feel my camera is focusing on it all that well. There we go. That's a little bit better. But this is sort of like this muted browny pink. So I thought that could be pretty for the crease. Then to deepen things up all around the lash line, I'm going to be using the Jewel Glide Effect Eye Pencil Waterproof in the shade Amber Glow. And it's already a little bit like smudge and stuff, but so I do apologize. The picture I have for you of the close-up is better than this, but it's essentially just a dark brown. And then to round out the look, we're going to use this. This is the Prismatic Shift eyeshadow in Pink Horizon. Yes, Catrice is back with multi-chromes, so I can't wait to test this out. In a swatch, I wasn't super impressed. Maybe I'm more impressed once it's on the lids. And then I'm gonna top it off with the mascara. And I always, before I do mascara, like to do fixing spray. And they've come out with this. This is the Aqua Splash Grip Fixing Spray. So I'm going to quickly put these products onto my face, and then we're gonna chat about how it went, and then I have lips left for you. So here is the eye look all done. I don't feel that this lighting is doing the eyes justice because this is a really beautiful multi-chrome. It does have a bit of a shift when I look at it in a full-on swatch. It has purple, green, pink, that sort of thing. But I feel I cannot really see it with lights coming in from every single side. Like, you need to have shadow somewhere to see that. So I think that shadow is hopefully going to show up better in daylight in a second. The matte that I used was really pretty. It's very blendable, it's buildable, it's easy to use. And then we have the eye pencil, which is actually so soft that the thing I wanted to do with it, which is to also like use it on the waterline, is not something that really happened. For mascara, I have the Catrice Glam & Doll Sculpt and Volume Waterproof Mascara, and I do not like the brush wand at all. I was very excited for this because the Glam & Doll Original is like one of my favorite Catrice mascaras of all time. But do you see how spiky those, like the end, like the wand is sort of like tapered and it becomes a little bit wider? Not because the wand is wider, but because the bristles become longer. And they are very, very spiky, and they kind of hurt. So that's why I don't like it. I'm going to see how this formula holds up. I very often don't use my Glam & Doll as my only mascara, though, whenever I do my makeup. I always use a volumizing one first, and then I go in with my Glam & Doll to help make it waterproof and to sort of comb through my lashes. So I definitely have to test this out in combination with another black mascara to see how it performs then. And the waterproof regular Glam & Doll that I've used for absolute yonks, like aeons it feels like it, really helps with like smudging on the lower lash line when it's like raining and stuff. So that's why I like that formula so much. So that's why I did apply this to the lower lash line to test this out, but I do feel that my lashes look a little bit sad with just this on its own because I don't like this line of mascara. I don't love a lot of Catrice mascaras by itself. I like them layered, but I don't like them individually, you could say. It's time for lips. I've got a bunch here, and what I've told myself I'm no longer going to do is what I've done for years, is to buy every single shade of lipstick that Essence and Catrice offer. I just end up with so many things that I don't like. They now have excellent swatches on their website, so you can go to the European website by Essence and Catrice to look up the swatches, and I feel that they are pretty true to color as well. So I feel I don't need to swatch them out anymore. And like I said, I would always end up with so many shades that I realistically cannot wear. So it was just a cycle of buying and decluttering, buying and decluttering. I'm currently sitting on a huge shoebox with mainly lip products from Essence and Catrice that just didn't work for me. So that's all gonna go to a good home. I have loads of colleagues who really enjoyed the fact that I brought so much makeup last year, so it's gonna be a little less this year because there's just less to declutter. But a lot of those lip products from Essence and Catrice I'm just gonna pass up again or pass on again. And I will be doing a separate video with the different lip products I have. So the ones I do have, I'm still going to swatch for you, but I will be showcasing that in a different video. So I have the glass-like gloss sticks for you. So I'll insert some close-ups and swatches already for you so you can at least see the shades. And then I have the Blur Real Matte Stick as well. So that's their new matte formula. They have a new lip gloss as well, the Filler Supreme in this really pretty sparkly red. Would love to try that. And then they have a full range of new lip tints. So here is where another dupe comes in, because these are exactly the same as the Romand Juicy Lasting Tints. So this is one by Romand. That's a K-beauty brand, and Catrice has duped it. I bought two. I got My Cherry Era, and I got Tint Me Red. So 2 shades of that. So I have like 2 of each. And then they've come out with a new line of lip liners. And one of these I want to try today because I feel I do need a little bit more on my lips because the rest of my look is pretty neutral. So I'm going to use a darker shade, and I'll use the other 2 in my other video. But I got a clear one because I don't have one yet. And that can be really helpful if you have a lipstick ever that feathers and you use a clear lip liner. It can really help. And then I have Drip the Drama. These are the Gel Glide long-lasting lip liners. So this seems to be a nice, like, pinky nude sort of thing. And then I have the one I'm going to use, and this is 080 Sass and Flirty. And this is like a berry sort of shade, I feel. And I'm going to use it together with the Peptide Bliss Glossy Lip Balm. And this, I feel, is a dupe for the Rhode. So I've only picked up the Rhode like a couple of months ago, and I'm still sort of like rotating through some of the products that I got over Black Friday. So I'm sort of like trying to make up my mind about it as we're going along. But just from the name of it and the way this feels in a swatch, it looks to be very similar, is all I'm saying. So let me take my lip balm off and apply these lips. And here is what that lip combo looks like. And these lip liners, as I was hoping they would do, are some lip liners that you can actually blend in with your finger. So you can sort of blur them out and create this blurry lip line. And then the Peptide Bliss glossy lip balm actually goes with it really well. So this is a really nice match. They go together really well. I do feel that the gloss has some like, can you see that? It has those like lines when you press your lips together, but I'm hoping that as I keep talking that's going to go away. So I'll insert a clip right now of what this makeup looks like in the daytime. I think that's helpful for you. I will try and do a wear test as well. It's currently around noon time, and I do have to edit this video the same day, so I'm gonna try and give this 7 hours of wear. I normally give my makeup much more time on my face on a given day, so I'm definitely gonna have to try these things a little bit more after this video. Alrighty, this is just with one ring light, so we can really sort of hopefully judge and not have it be too overexposed, but this is at the end of the day. It's around 6:30 right now, and I need to start editing this video, but here is what the makeup looks like after like 6.5-ish hours of wear. I did start filming around 11, I would say, so the foundation and stuff has been on for a good 6, maybe close to 7 hours, like 7-ish hours. The eyeshadow and stuff a little bit shorter, but you can see my eyeshadow is still on. Of course, the lips, which was a very sort of lip balmy kind of texture, it's not gonna last. By the time I had lunch, it was all gone. As with the lip liner, I feel there's still a little bit of color, like there's this haze that I can see, but it's really only in some of the lines in my lips, and that's about it. So we're not gonna call it like that, but I knew that wasn't going to be a formula that would be transfer proof or anything like that. But I'm really satisfied with the way the rest of my makeup looks, and for how crazy it looked at the start of the video when I first started doing the base, where everything looked super light and bright. I do feel that this worked really well in the end, especially when I look at like my under eyes. I was really afraid, because I know this formula from having used it in the past, it can really accentuate lines and texture and stuff. but I feel it's almost like as my skin like wore the makeup in throughout the day, my under eye actually started to look better instead of worse, which is rare for me. And you can definitely see like I've got a little bit more shine going on in certain areas. That's just the way skin moves. But you can see the blush is still very much on. The bronzer that we applied on the forehead is still on. The brows are still on. They're a little less shiny, I feel, than when I first did them, which is good because I didn't like the shininess it had at the start. And the mascara, it did get a little smudgy, especially on this eye, I feel, but I did have a bit of a boo-boo there that I had to clean up while doing it. But I definitely feel that the creamy base of the concealer is what is messing with the smudginess of the mascara. So I don't want to judge it too hard yet. I'm going to be using that mascara in my next Shop My Stash and really put it through its paces and to also see how it interacts with other mascaras that I like. But if you want my really quick, honest opinion, just a first impression, then I would say that pretty much all of these products could be worth it. Like, there's not really anything here that's super bad. I just didn't like those two highlighters. That's like the only thing that I'm truly disappointed with. The two liquid and cream highlighter. Like the one that I applied later, I liked a lot more. The Aura Glam one, that was nice. The other two, I'm a bit so-so on. But the rest, I think you might like. The eyeshadow is not as multi-chrome-ish as I'd hoped. No matter what lighting I've checked throughout the day, it doesn't really matter. I barely see the green flip. So if you were hoping that Catrice has now done really good multi-chrome eyeshadows, they haven't quite managed it. You see it in a full-on swatch, but blended onto the eye, no. But it did increase, so that's a win. So yeah, here is what it looks like. I'm very not dissatisfied with the way this came together. Of course, this is only a first impression. I am going to be testing out loads of these products over the next couple of months. So check here or the blog in the meantime, and else, if not, check back for more once I have tried all the new Essence and Catrice stuff. Thank you so very much for watching this video today. I hope it was helpful, that you now have an idea of what these Catrice products look like and what you might be interested in. Check back for more because I will be doing reviews with a lot of these products. Some of them are going to go onto this channel, some of them are going to go over on my blog. And as I mentioned in my intro, I always do this roundup review when I've tried all of these Essence and Catrice products around like a couple of months later when I've just given them more of a whirl so I can really put them through their paces. So I'm going to come back with you once I've also tested out Essence. There's going to be at least an additional lip video. I'm going to put the eyeshadow palette in my next palette review. So stay tuned for more content, and I hope to see you again really, really soon on this channel or on any of my other socials. I post 4 times a week on this channel. I have a second channel with more lifestyle-y, bookish, fashion-y sort of content where I post once a week. That's called Floating in Books, with a link in the description box down below. And I'm also on Instagram and TikTok, which also have links in the description box down below. So check me out wherever, and I hope to see you again really, really soon in a new video. Bye-bye.